All right, we're going to try this Facebook Live out. I've tried it a couple other times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And the best way to figure it out is through practice. So I thought on this beautiful Sunday, and I say beautiful, it's actually going to be raining. That's why I've decided to kind of do this today. On this Sunday, is I'm actually going to make two meads today. And I've already started my first one. So I thought maybe today I can just kind of get familiar with Facebook Live and kind of walk you guys around what my home meadery looks like and how I'm making this wine. For those that are still curious on where we're at with actually starting up the meadery, the business, most of you guys already know this, but my permits fell through last year on where I wanted to start the meadery. So we're still looking for another location that takes less capital than what I'd like to do and start it up. So we're still looking for locations. So permits withstanding, I still have my home meadery that I'm still making wine with. So my very first one that I'm making is called just a traditional mead. And what that means is it's just straight honey and water. That's it. Nothing else. No additives, no herbs, no spices, no fruits, no nothing. It's just regular mead. The actual technical term is hydromels, right? Hydro being water. So a hydromel is really just a traditional mead. Now, the second mead I'm going to be making, if I have time today, and it takes a lot longer, is called a bochet. Bochet is French. It actually, I really don't like that term because it sounds fancy, right? It's French. It sounds really fancy. So let's use it, right? Bochet is a cool word, but it roughly translates to burnt honey. And I don't like that because who wants to burn anything? That just doesn't taste good. So it's not actually burnt honey. It's more caramelized, right? You boil the honey first, you get it caramelized. You lose a lot of that, honey floral notes, but it's caramelized. It gives you that caramel, that toffee flavor. Some chocolate might come out the longer you boil it. Anyway, so if I have time, I'm going to be working on a bochet today. But at the very beginning, I'm just really just starting my traditional mead. And that all starts with the absolute winners here, which is the yeast. Without yeast, you really can't do anything. So this is my yeast starter. Now, starter is kind of a hard term. All I've done is I've just rehydrated it, right? So I've just really put some yeast in here along with some good nutrients. For those that don't know about how yeast works, really it's just yeast eats sugar and it kind of poops out carbon dioxide and pees out, alcohol. That's kind of how it works. The problem is the reason why I have to put nutrients in it is because, well, I mean, think about it. If you eat cake every single day for the rest of your lives, will that sustain you? Probably. Are you going to be very healthy? No, probably not. So I have to put a lot of nutrients because there's not a whole lot of nutrients in honey, like you do with wine, right? You put a whole bunch of grapes in there, lots of nutrients in grapes, not a lot of nutrients in honey. So I have to really make sure I put a lot of nutrients in the water and the honey in order to make the yeast healthy. So vegetables, really. That's what I'm giving to the yeast. I'm giving it vegetables. So after the yeast hydrates, the next thing I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing this right after this call, is there's my scale here, right? So I've got some sanitizer to keep things nice and clean. I have to weigh out how much honey I'm going to be putting in there. Now, for a standard, I'm going to be making a 6-gallon batch today. So with that 6-gallon batch, it's going to be about 20 pounds of honey. Now, what that looks like is I've actually got my honey in here. This is my old kegerator. It stopped working because it no longer keeps things cool. So I really use it to keep my honey warm, right? So when I'm getting ready to make a mead, I have to kind of warm up the honey. It makes it a lot easier to pour, less viscous. So I've got a couple of 5-gallon buckets here of honey, along with some other tester honeys I'm doing. So I'm basically going to be putting in 20 pounds of honey for this 6-gallon batch. So I weigh it out, put it in there. I have to do a whole bunch of measurements, that kind of thing. And once I do that, then I go into these guys right here, right? So these things have already been cleaned. These things are cleaned and sanitized. One of them is going to be for my traditional honey, my traditional mead, and the other one is going to be for the bochet. I do have a bigger tank over here if I ever want to do like a 30-gallon batch. And of course, for the meadery, I've got some bigger batches here. That's about 125 gallons per tank there. But anyway, so starting off, we're just doing these 6-gallon batches right here. And 6 gallons will give me if I'm doing a regular bottle of wine, which is your 750 milliliter bottle of wine, it's going to give me about 30 bottles of that per 6 gallons. So these two wines, hopefully I'll probably get about 60 bottles out of it. I am out of mead, and I've been so busy with the fireworks show and just, with work and just everything else, keeping up with the house and everything. I've ran out of mead, and I don't have any more bottles left. I really got to get some more bottles coming in. So I've got a lot of batches that I'm planning on making over the next couple of months. I've got three 5 gallons of honey. So that's 60, 120. I've got 180 pounds of honey that I'm ready to start making some really good meads. One of my favorites is my black currant mead, which I call it the forbidden fruit. Then we have the Boucher, which I have called dark horn, and then my traditional mead. So yeah, lots of things going on here. And I can't wait to start making some mead and start sharing it out because I don't have any more bottles left. So anyway, just thought I'd kind of walk around and kind of show you what the meadery looks like here. Of course, with these bigger tanks right here, these 125 gallon tanks, that's what these tanks are actually meant for. These are my aging tanks and what we call racking tanks, so that when I rack wine from one tank to another tank as I'm filtering it out and clearing it out, that's what these guys are for. As I'm using these for my fermenters, I have a cooler here. The garage does get warm in the summertime, so I have to sometimes keep things cool. You usually want to keep your wine about 70 degrees or less, depending on how you're making the wine. Some wines you may want to make it hotter, with some yeast. Some yeast do really well at like 90-degree weather, but generally, that's kind of what it is. Anyway, I thought I'd just kind of walk through. Anybody have any questions about mead, by all means, throw it over here. But as I'm progressing along making this wine, I will try and post more. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. And it's a little tacky, I know. I'm still trying to figure out Facebook Live, but hopefully you guys got something out of it. And we'll see you next time. See ya.